Hello, I'm Tommy Moore, founder of Bartitsu Lab, and today we're going to be breaking down our art into Bartitsu, and we're going to look at how to defend ourselves in a pub or a club or a restaurant, because these meeting places of people are often where confrontations kick off and indeed end. Now, I believe it was Fairburn that said, if you enter a fight unarmed, you're unlucky, and if you stay that way, you're stupid. So if we're looking at environments where there could be lots of opponents, that our opponents could be armed, that we might need to look after our wives or our children or our family members, we need to be able to equalise, and we need to be able to equalise quickly. And luckily, in bars, pubs, restaurants, there's lots of weapons of opportunity, incidental weapons. And we refer to weapons as incidental, it was just there and I grabbed it, or accidental, I was holding it, it's not particularly great, but I've got to make some kind of use of it now. Some of these will be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but hopefully they start you thinking about what weapons could be in what places, if you have such a need for them, how to hold them, how to use them, how to think about them. And I believe it's really important that, there's only certain types of weapons. There are flexible weapons, long solid ones, short solid ones, short sharp ones, long sharp ones. And essentially everything else just goes into a category of one of those things. So we're going to start off with a commonly occurring weapon, and that is the bottle. Again, if you're out in the sun having a beer and you find you need to defend yourself, it might be that you need to defend yourself against or with one of these. Now, I'll move on to weapon defences in another video, but if we're looking to be offensive this weapon, so if I've seen a group attack me, if I've seen someone with a weapon and I need to equalise, I'm going to take my beer bottle. Now, how to use the beer bottle effectively. So one of the most important things is that if you just hold the neck of the beer bottle here and strike something hard, be that a surface or be that a face, you'll likely smash the bottom and end up with a useless jagged stump that you can't do much with. It won't break off like the movies perfectly here. Odds are it'll break off just at the neck. So what I found very, very useful striking its harder targets is aligning the thumb along here. Most bottles you'll see a line, a ridge here. If I place my thumb on that line, it gives it a bit of extra support. So I've got this striking surface here. Also, when you're using weapons in a bar, you need to think like a Roman legionary. You don't have a great deal of room to maneuver. So what I find is that you take your bottle, you keep it tight to your body and have it in the hand which is furthest away from the opponent. Because this isn't a deadly weapon, someone can grab it and then essentially it's not my weapon, it's not his, it's ours. It's got no utility for me. So I take this bottle, I have it back here close to my body, and I have this hand out front, and this is for warding blows, this is for keeping distance. And then when it comes to the strikes, don't go for big circular strikes with these. Bottles are best used in sharp thrusting motions. This is quite a tough bit of the bottle. You can strike under the chin, under the nose, into the throat. It's quite an effective thrusting tool. As a striking tool, it's very fragile. As a thrusting tool, it's got a bit more life to it. So if you imagine it kicks off, you grab your bottle this way in your strongest hand, you turn it, you hold it close to your body, and you use this hand to block, to push, to make distance, and you do short, sharp, jabbing strikes with this. You can do them overhand, like so, or underhand, like so. Underhand is obviously great for getting in the neck or in the jaw. Overhand, if I just need to smash it directly into that face. I prefer the underhand techniques, like so. So again, something to think about when you're using a bottle. Don't swing it around. Don't try and smash it off a bar like you're in a movie. It just won't end well for you. You'll end up with a tiny jagged stump. If you do need to use it, keep it close to your body. Keep something in between you and your opponent still. Short, sharp thrusts. Or if you do need to strike, still treat it like a thrust. So straight, 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 straight. Final strike. So short, sharp, aggressive strikes. But in reality, thrusts are the order of the day for this. If it does smash, you've got an edged weapon, but it's not very strong and it will fail at you. Using the rigidity of the bottle in those thrusts can be very, very useful. So again, something for you to test out and try at home. See how long bottles last against punch bags, against bob dummies. Typically, you'll get at least 10, 15 strikes out of these. If you align the thumb along the side, it's a little bit more rigid. If you keep it close to your body, it's less likely to be taken off you. If you keep a barrier, you've got some degree of fence, and you can attack at will with that bottle. So again, you can turn this into quite an effective weapon. Then we start to look at things like cutlery. Now, if I get attacked and I'm near a pub, a club, a restaurant, there's likely eating involved, and you'll end up with things like this. So, slightly rubbish butter knife. okay? Now, if I try and hold and use this like a normal knife, because it's very thin, anything I hit which is solid just bends that knife back. So if I try and cut with that, bends it back into my palm, renders it relatively useless. I don't have a good enough grip on it. It's the same in the hammer grip. If I hold it traditionally like this, because of how thin this particular tang is, it's not going to give me much support. So if you are needing to use essentially a weapon of accident or incident like this, hold it like so and then deploy a saber grip. So run your thumb along the back edge. Now I've got a lot more rigidity to the weapon, and try and get your hand closer to the cutting edge. So you've got good, strong control over a cutting edge. And I say a cutting edge, they mostly have these small serrations in there. So if we're holding it in our saber grip now, again, same principles, we hold it close to our body. We keep this in the way. Now we can't really stab with it, it's not really sharp enough. And we can't really cut with it because it's not really sharp enough. What we can do is tear with it. So if I'm needing to strike with it, it strikes forward as a short, sharp ripping motion, like so. Short, sharp rip. And again, really aiming around the eyes, above the eyebrow, into the eyes themselves. There's no point going for the body with something as blunt as this, but around the eyes is really great. So again, I can get people quite scared of this. I can get people to react, to move. I can delay people. So if I'm fighting someone with a proper knife and I've got this, if I'm firing this towards your eyes, you're going to be thinking twice about closing so much, hopefully. So again, using this saber grip here, close to your body, short, sharp, tearing strikes, predominantly aimed at the eyes. Now, if you're going to be doing it in a reverse grip, a hammer grip, which I wouldn't advise, but sometimes you just pick things up cack-handed, again, make sure you place your thumb on top here. So now I've got some support. If I don't have that thumb, if it hits anything hard, it's going to slide through. So I put this thumb on top. I keep it close to the body, almost like a boxing stance. I cut down and I rip again. And the main thing with these types of blows is you need to do multiples. You know, you're looking at 5, 6, 7 repeated strikes to the face, around the face, into the neck. Again, using this to keep people away. Repeat, 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 repeat. Eventually this will become useless to you. Doesn't matter, because I can keep returning those hammer blows. Whether this is in the hand and this comes out, the motion's still the same. So in the frenzy of it, by doing this, if this comes out, doesn't matter, I can keep that pressure on. So with the knife, I picked it up, it's a shit knife, so I need to make it slightly less shit. Run my thumb along the edge in the saber grip, hold it back, hold it close to the body, strike in tearing motions, but still short, sharp and thrust-like towards the eyes and face. If I pick it up like this, repeated hammer blows. You can do these at varying lengths, so if the opponent's a little bit further away, I can go long distance, get closer and repeat. But again, bear in mind that often this will come to a point where it comes loose in your grip. Just repeat those blows. But there are 2 ways in which you can use a rather rubbish piece of cutlery as a weapon. That's part 1. We'll move on to part 2.